We're live. We're from from an undisclosed location. I don't want to dox myself. Gosh, it's been a couple days. Good to see everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Future viewers, posterity. No one's watching right now, of course. I just got on, but I feel just the obligation to deliver high quality content immediately. They've got all this security in this park. I'm not really sure if you're supposed to smoke. I think probably not. These are our first outdoor broadcasts in like 6 or 7 months, 5 months, 4 months. The leaves are coming back on the trees, as you can see here. Spring is slowly creeping back to life after this winter just about fucking KO'd all. Oh, it's Liberation Day, everybody. Happy Liberation Day. So we're going to be talking about being financially liberated. Liberated from our money. Liberated from our wallets. Liberated from our 401ks. Hey, if the stock market crashes, good. I don't give a fuck. Let's have some, it serves these people right for it to fucking backfire on them like this. Like Tim Cook. What the fuck is Tim Cook thinking right now? Like I saw Apple stock took 8% hit. Apple stock has plunged more than the others. It's like Tim Cook was right there at the inauguration. Like what the fuck did he think was going to happen? And so yeah, I guess people's 401ks have lost trillions of dollars of value, and so serves them right, these fucking stupid bastards. Hopefully the rich will suffer for a fucking change. The people who have people with 401ks, I guess, are like people with jobs and shit, so it's their retirement. I guess that's probably part of the reason why your retirement should not be completely tied up with like stocks and private interests and whatnot. Maybe it shouldn't be invested. Maybe it should just be fucking Social Security. Maybe it should be controlled by the government. People who aren't motivated to just rip you off for as much as they possibly can to increase their own profits. And so, yeah, I don't know. I was watching a bunch of videos about these fucking tariffs and how, it's just crazy because, right, the famous reason why everybody voted for Trump was because shit was too expensive. The eggs were too goddamn expensive. And so, he was talking about these fucking tariffs. It was like his main thing, how tariffs is the greatest fucking word in the English language. And so it's not like he didn't tell us what he was going to do, right? That's people's favorite thing to say about Trump. Well, he just do what he said he's going to do. It's like, yeah, he's slapping fucking tariffs on everything. And if why you voted for him was because shit was so expensive, it's about to get a hell of a lot worse for no fucking reason. There's no reason to impose these tariffs other than, well, the idea is that it will be too expensive for manufacturers to do things abroad because of the tariffs, so they will bring the jobs home. They will bring, at least that's like the narrative that they're trying to sell to their right-wing base or whatever. We'll see. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is they will pass the car. Like, we're already seeing that, right? Like, cars are going to get way more fucking expensive. Everything's going to get more fucking expensive all of a sudden. It's like, well, that was the whole fucking reason why people voted for Trump. Because they thought, oh, it's Biden inflation. And the eggs are too goddamn expensive. So now now the cost of everything is going to explode. Which, to be honest, feels like it's just the final stage of a process that we've been under. They want to collapse the United States government, like the Soviet Union collapsed, because there's a lot of fucking money that they can make by privatizing shit. So I don't know, maybe this, I don't, how are these CEOs looking at it, and how are the stock market people looking at it, that they're the ones that are losing all this fucking money? The stock market is, you know, it's the biggest plunge since 22 or something, lost 1,200 points. These are facts, these are numbers, people. On the bright side, okay, I have got the ball rolling as far as like fixing my health problems. I did go to a student dentist on Tuesday, April Fool's Day. Maybe that was not as well. These student dental things, it's like they take it really slow. Like they kind of break every appointment into 2 appointments. So the guy really didn't even do anything, to be honest. It was just kind of like a pre-screening. But that being said, I'm not really sure I'm going to go back. It's kind of dirty, and you know, you can just kind of tell these are like rambunctious college kids whose hands they're putting you into, and they're a little bit too inexperienced or something. But in any case, I did go. And I've just sort of, you know, for the longest time, I just thought, well, I'm not going to Google my symptoms, because that's the worst thing you can do. When you Google your symptoms, it's like you're going to read shit and you're going to be like, oh my God, I have, you know, cancer of the whatever. You're going to think the worst. But to be honest, that's all the fucking doctor does now. When you go to the doctor, they Google your goddamn symptoms. And supposedly AI is better at diagnosing you than actual doctors at this point. And so I've been on Reddit. Well, you know, I didn't want to look into it because I had a health situation about a decade ago, and being kind of, you know, I just threw myself into the medical system and went and saw doctors and Googled my symptoms, and you know, I thought I had fucking a lot of bad stuff that I didn't have. And so my strategy for the last 10 years has been like, well, I'm not going to do that. I don't trust doctors. They don't help. They can't tell you anything. They can't fix you. You got to have a good diet and just let your body heal itself. Which, you know, to some degree, but there's certain things that it's just dumb. Like if you have a fucking tooth infection, it's like... So I was talking to Bathtub Nebula on Monday, and he was just like, it sounds like you need antibiotics. And so I thought, well, yeah, that kind of makes sense. And so, you know, I've been going to these dentists. They tell me I need root canals, this, that. They get x-rays, this, that. But they don't prescribe me any fucking antibiotics. Because with teeth, it's like they do need to go in and drill it out and actually, like, do some kind of fucking procedure. If they just give you antibiotics, it will come back, I guess. But, that being said, I Googled my symptoms. I went on Reddit. I read a lot of eyewitness testimony. And people with a lot worse teeth situations than me were talking about, okay, apparently you're supposed... I don't know if I should spread this on YouTube, but everybody was telling me that because in America, right, it's really hard to get a prescription unless you have health insurance. And I've just been through, I reapplied for my Medicaid about a year and a half ago, and no dentists take it. And so I was reading on Reddit, all these people get these fish antibiotics. Because apparently these, like, you can just go to the pet store. Not anymore. Now it's like they cracked down on it because too many people were doing this. But I guess a lot of people who are like traveling, like backpackers and shit, they get this, it's called fish mox. And supposedly it's like knockoff food, you know, it's like knockoff Doritos. Like it's literally the same fucking antibiotics that they give human beings. It's just... they repackage it for fish. in your fish tank. But supposedly it's exactly the same fucking drug. It's just a different package. It's got fish on it. It's got fucking, beta fish on it. Beta rays instead of people or whatever. And so I started to look into this. I'm like, how do I get this fish? I probably should not spread this medical. But RFK Jr. is like the fucking Surgeon General now. So, God, I wish this kid would shut the fuck up over here. Like, he's being really annoying yelling. Yeah, so RFK Jr. is the fucking Surgeon General now. So I just figured it's the Wild West again. It's all oxychloroquine or whatever the fuck they were doing for. And so I've been looking at this fish. But in any case, I did not do that. I went on my fucking, because I have Medicaid, my health insurance. I was able to get a video appointment with a fucking doctor, like literally in like 5 minutes. I was able to get a video appointment with the doctor on my fucking computer for free. They didn't show me a bill. They didn't ask about money or anything. For free. Very simple to do. All I had to do was enter beep, boop, pop, beep, beep, my health fucking insurance info. I don't even know if they asked for that. They just had it somehow. And so I saw this doctor. He seemed like kind of a chiropractor or sort of a little bit of a quack. But then again, it's like, it's kind of dumb that you have to jump through these hoops just to get the shit. It's like, I'm not going to overuse antibiotics. It's like the dentist on Tuesday, we did an x-ray. He said I have an infection. This is a common thing that dentists do, right, before an appointment, is they'll prescribe you antibiotics. And my symptoms have been kind of getting worse, right? Like I've got this fucking eye thing and this leg thing. If a year ago when I went to that free clinic, if they just would have prescribed me goddamn antibiotics, it might have just fixed the whole thing. But they, like I said, they gatekeep this shit for good reason. If people overuse the antibiotics or they just take fish antibiotics with like abandon, obviously that apparently, the body builds up a resistance and the antibiotics stop working. So that could be a real crisis for humanity if everybody's just overusing. But, I haven't taken antibiotics and I don't even know how long, at least 10 years. Probably the last time I had a tooth problem in 2016, I think they gave me antibiotics. So I don't think I'm really in any danger of overdoing it. Some of these people on Reddit, it's like, Jesus Christ, their mouth is just a fucking junkyard. And this one woman's just like, oh, I just take the fish antibiotics all the time, basically. And it kind of keeps her teeth problems at bay. It's like, I'm not doing that. But it's like, I feel like it's kind of irresponsible that I've gone to see these different dentists and they just haven't, they expect you to get a root canal, which is not covered by Medicaid. You got to pay out of pocket for that or get some kind of approval from the fucking government. And so I literally had a fucking video appointment with this doctor. I think it's like Plush Medical or something. He just asked me what the problem was. I told him, I saw the dentist. They told me I have an infection. I get dizziness, kind of. I have this leg problem, etc., etc. And, within 5 minutes, he had sent a fucking prescription over to CVS on 5th Avenue for fucking antibiotics and some kind of nausea medicine. I'm not trying to manipulate the doctor or get, things I shouldn't have. I'm not going to Dr. Nick. This isn't like Elvis. I don't have the fucking physician's desk reference. I just want, to if I can solve this thing and just like I said, it's starting to get worse. Like my fucking eyes are starting to get, they'd probably prescribe me fucking antibiotics anyway. So if I can just take the antibiotics and have my fucking leg pain go away without them having to drill into my fucking face, I'd rather do that, frankly. That seems like a more humane way. And then I can just sort of manage my tooth. Like, my teeth don't hurt. My mouth feels pretty good. It's all these other fucking things that it's like Why not just take antibiotics now before I have to go to the fucking hospital and get like some kind of fucking IV or something? You know, and if it doesn't work or whatever, then I will go back to the dentist. The guy said 3 weeks to the next appointment. So what the hell? Why not give it a fucking shot? The miracles of modern medicine. Like I said, I'm not going to overdo it, but I went to the fucking CVS. I got my prescription. They didn't show me a bill either. Thank God for Medicaid. Thank God for New York State Medicaid. The health insurance here is really good. I mean, you can't see like the best doctors. You're not going to like, you know, some kind of boutique dental place with like iPads and shit. You're going to like these kind of gritty like army hospital. It's government doctors and shit, you know? So it's like, you're not being pampered with cucumber water and shit like that, but the guy I saw on Tuesday had like fucking flame tattoos on his hands and shit. And, I don't know. That's not necessarily the most, you know, responsible sign for somebody who's going to be like, you know, drilling into your fucking jawbone or whatever. Oh, we ran into these guys after the open mic on Tuesday. Jesus Christ. We were hanging out downstairs in the KGB bar proper. And this guy came up, started talking to me. This one guy had very strong Buffalo Bill vibes. He was hitting on me pretty hardcore. And then this other guy next to him was talking about how he was like a dental assistant or something growing up. And he had performed all this like amateur dental surgery. And he's like, what you do is you get a needle and you put it in the tooth. He said he did a root canal on somebody at Burning Man. So these guys roll up. They had kind of a dark energy. They seemed kind of like David Lynch characters. Just like, you know, Robert Blake and who's the guy who played Eraserhead? Henry. Whatever that guy's name is. They just kind of had sinister, like, bad guy vibes. But hey, you need that. They asked us if we wanted, he's like, we got a bunch of 8 balls. If you want to buy 8 balls. As we're leaving, as we're like fleeing the scene, he's like, I got some 8 balls if you want to buy them. It's like we stayed in the bar till like real late. It's fun, I don't know. Why not? I'm on vacation. I'm on spring break. I might as well stay out all night, you know? Is Ashley watching from Hawaii? Ashley's in Hawaii right now, so maybe she's watching from like some resort or something. So yeah, this guy's like, I performed a root canal at Burning Man. Apparently you get some kind of like, it's some kind of like screwdriver type thing with like threads on it, and you jam it into the tooth and you rip it out, and supposedly it just yanks the whole root out. So this guy's performing amateur dental surgery. I should have just had him do it right there in the KGB bar. Yeah, man, I'll just get on the table. Let's do it at the open mic. We'll just get an amateur root canal on stage. That's performance art, everybody. That's what New York needs. More kind of hardcore, violent body mutilation on stage. I might as well turn it into content, for Christ's sake. My root canal journey. They were like Escape from LA characters. They had very strong kind of like Bruce Campbell, Steve Buscemi in Escape from LA. So that was colorful and fun. So yesterday, it was a little chilly, and I spent the whole day typing up a new chapbook because I'm way overdue. I haven't done the cover yet, but Casbah Doggerel, look for it. It's coming out. It's 60 pages. And I've had these long pieces like Diet Soup and my address to the Easy Paradise 2-year anniversary. I've had them typed up for a while, but I knew that I wanted to, kind of in the middle of something. Sorry, yeah. interact with any weirdos right now. Should I have talked to that guy? Was that rude? Would that have been good content? But I had this whole election sequence, right? I've read it on my live stream. For fans of the stream, you might remember it. And I knew I wanted that to be in there. Because, you know, I typed this other shit up before the election. I wrote it before the election. So now, after the election, it's like, oh my God. I wanted my book to kind of chart that journey. From the kind of unwitting innocence of the Biden era. And then just, like, walking into the rake and getting smacked in the face with Trump re-election, just kind of out of the blue, to be honest. People were not taking it that seriously. They thought it was lesser of two evils, but they're the same. Kamala sucks, Biden sucks, Genocide Joe. And so I wanted my book to kind of track, now that it's March, or I guess it's fucking April, Jesus Christ. My last book, I think, came out in August last year, Vigilante Justice, which is in the hands of Jim Jarmusch, thanks to Ashley. Ashley was able to get a copy of Vigilante Justice to Jim Jarmusch. And so I have all this fucking material because I've really been kind of prolific the last 6 months. You know, I've been writing in these big notebooks and whatnot. So it's just like, it's almost too much to type up. You know, you're just like, Jesus Christ. I mean, it took me all day yesterday to type. It's 12,000 words. It's 11,500 words, which I guess is the length of The Metamorphosis. It's not quite novella length. I think they said a novella is like 17,500 words to 50,000. So but it's kind of a novella. It's a political novella. And so this sequence, it's basically just my whole diary from beginning of November to, you know, November 20th or something, I don't know. And it's just crazy how it kind of charts in real time. You know, the shock and the kind of like, you know, slow motion reacclimation to, oh my God, Trump is coming back. He's slapping these tariffs on everybody, right? It's Liberation Day. So we're all liberated from our wallets and our checkbooks and our bank accounts and our freedom. We're liberated from our freedom, you know? We're achieving peace through war, okay? Trump is achieving peace through war, okay? Just trust us. We're liberating you with these tariffs. Everybody's going to get so fucking rich by spending more money and by being more broke. You're going to be so poor, you're going to get so fucking rich. You're going to get so fucking rich by being poor. It's insane. I mean, we're all going to be more rich than ever by just like losing everything. No, it's not going to start to rain, is it? It's sort of threatening. Like it could spill over into like a little bit of a little pout at any time. This guy is pouty today on Liberation Day. He should have did it on April 1st. That would have been perfect. Liberation Day, April 1st, 2025. These tariffs, man. I mean, Jesus Christ. It's this huge risk. That's what Richard Wolff said. It's an extreme risk. It's a giant risk to take. It's a financial slap in the face. It's basically like taking your glove off, and it's like doing that little glove slap that you do when you want to like piss somebody off into like starting a duel. When you want to provoke somebody in a duel, you just take your little glove off and slap the cheek of your... But there's no tariffs on Russia. Just Canada. Just our allies. Just our traditional allies. All that's out the fucking... I mean, we are entering a new dark ages. China, Russia, United States are going to be this oligarchy, autocracy, dictators for life. They are going to control us, put all the dissenters in jail, deport all the ideological enemies, send them to El Salvadorian prisons or whatever. Wait till they see my live stream and my chat books. I'm sure I'm gonna get sent to fucking prison in El Salvador. It'll be like a fucking Oliver Stone movie. Oliver Stone had this Instagram post the other day. What's going on? This is not what we signed up for. Why is Trump doing XYZ in Russia? But he said Biden and Harris would have been worse. Would have been as bad or worse. That's what Oliver Stone thinks, so I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. My book is not entirely political. There's a lot of relationship stuff. There's movie criticism. It's basically like a Substack. It's got, you know, that's part of it, you know, is the spectacle and the media. It's all weaving together. Our lives, the politics. I don't think we can avoid that, you know. It's like there used to be this compartmentalizing. It's like the president was this dignified statesman, hail to the chief, and Obama's writing these really great speeches like he's fucking Abe Lincoln or something, like he's fucking Robert Pinsky. You could be the next Billy Collins. I think if I really worked hard at it, I could be the next Billy Collins. People seem to like the Billy Collins side of my poetry, which I shun and I try to hide and detest, but that's the part people seem to like. But no, now it's just a big reality show. And it's like, you know, the worst stuff, it gets the most views. The most despicable, like that guy, you know, last time I did a live stream, I ran into these kids in Washington Square Park who had a streamer house. And the guy was talking about how he got all these views because a rat ran through his room or something. You know, that was the thing that, like, he got like millions of views because some kind of fucking rat like ran through his room, and like that's what people like were like, oh, let's watch this. Like somebody was telling me they went on a date with this guy who, like, he has these cockroaches that live in his apartment, and he like films the fucking cockroaches, and like it's like, what the fuck? This guy's got like a huge online following. It's like people want to see weird, dark shit on the internet. They want to see violence. They want to see kick streamers doing stunts in public to provoke people, to scare people, to get a reaction out of people. It's jump scare shit. It's you know, the internet has just, like, because you can do it at a distance. You can watch it anonymously through Twitch, through YouTube, whatever the fuck it is. You can comment and be a big man in the comments and run your fucking mouth and be racist and ugly, you know, and whatever. Just spew bile. Because the internet has that anonymity and that kind of safety of long distance, dial up. And that's not what I try to do with my live stream at all. I don't want that at all. I don't want there to be, like, you know, car wreck. Like, look, you know, this is America's greatest car chases and shit. You know, like, people, that's human tendency, I guess, to just, you want to, you know, a rubberneck at the sight of carnage. You know, people are curious about that, and you can't look away from a fight or a confrontation, or it's Jerry Springer. It's Jerry Springer politics, completely. You know, like, that show was hot fire. Because all it was, please like and subscribe, everybody, for watching. Jerry Springer, Jerry. And I don't know, is confrontation good? Is it necessary? People they want MMA. They want harder stuff. They don't just want wrestling. They want guys going through glass tables and chairs and shit. Oh, you unliked it, you bastards. That's all right. We don't do it for the likes. We do it for the listening to the sound of our own voice, as it were. So get Casbah Doggerel. This is an ARC review copy. This is not the final. This is just the prototype. So I'm going through, you know, this is just the first draft, and I'm kind of fine-tuning it. But my new political, it's time to get political again. So I don't know. This book, it kind of combines it all. It's got New York. It's got relationship stuff. It's got beautiful nature videography. It's got labor protesting. It's got, you know, it's got a lot of the big pieces that I've read recently. It's got Adventures in Foliage, Green Out. Green Out is my big election sequence. It's like 30 pages or something. And so it just tracks, you know, because we need that. We need to remember now it is our job. We are the journalists. We are the fucking reporters. We are the media. You know, now it's all just, we're all influencers. Whether you like it or not, with varying degrees of success. And so, why not? Why not get on the soapbox and just rail your fucking opinions for whatever little constituency you can get together from the bully pulpit of your little accounts. YouTube.com/scenes_from_a_life. Casbah Doggerel, everybody. So yeah, I don't know. It's you know, by just writing things as they happen, it is like a way of tracking these developments. I mean, this shit just crept on us out of nowhere, and so it's got a lot of commentary infused in that about masculinity, all of the things that the election were about. The demographics of who voted what way. I'm Dark Gothic Kamala, of course. Wouldn't it be better? Do you think Kamala would be having Liberation Day and slapping a bunch of fucking tariffs? Trump has created a frame where people expect that he can do whatever he wants, because he always has. And so he's really the only president that could even get away with this, I feel like. And, you know, to some degree, maybe, like, it's good that a president is thinking in giant terms like this. It's a shame that it's this guy and, like, it's such a stupid idea, but, like, bad and stupid, evil, self-serving. But at the same time, like, we do need some kind of giant refashioning of, you know, kind of the system. More bureaucracy. If you ask me, I mean, isn't that what these tariffs are? More government interference, more regulation, more taxation. It's a tax. That's basically what all the economists I listened to said. They said it's a tax. That's all it is. It's a fucking tax. You know, Republicans not traditionally the tax party, but yeah, so I don't know. It's all fucking in there. Casbah Doggerel. It's just like there's too much to talk about. You know, of course there's Elon Musk criticism. Now the Vigilante Justice book just seems innocent with Montauk and frolicking on the beach like Joel and Clementine. How that was just a different world. I mean, we are going through the Kali Yuga, right? So it's like, I mean, literally everything is going to change, and I guess that just means everything. That means our government, our way of life, our freedom. I mean, from here on out, what is it going to be? Like, we're going to get exterminated by a robot army or something? That's what the news today, Tesla said it's going to have 10,000 fucking robots or something by 2027. Tesla's the most advanced AI robot fucking maker. You know, if this idiot just wants to sick his fucking invincible army of droids, basically, like a fucking Attack of the fucking Clones. It's like the prequels, goddammit. What are we supposed to do other than my poetry's doing nothing? I worked so hard on this book. I worked so hard on my poetry, and I read it to people. I mean, it was always political. It's got my Manic Panic piece, which I read at Geo's book launch. Generally with the books, I type up things that I've read at open mics or readings. It's like the book is almost like a live recording bootleg of recent shows, where it's like you write this stuff in your notebook, and then when you have a reading, if it's a 2-minute open mic spot or a 15-minute feature spot or whatever, you kind of pick the pieces accordingly to whatever window of opportunity you have, whatever the occasion might be, whatever you want to say to people. how it relates to the circumstance, the space, and just what feels like the most alive, the most fresh, and the most like important message you want to deliver to people. You know, I'm just trying to write kind of like new, like the late night hosts are constantly writing monologues, Weekend Update, Daily Show. They're constantly editorializing and responding, and so responding in real time, but also trying to make it a timeless poem. I want to be beyond, you know. I do want to be like this kind of like rogue, you know, like outlaw. I think that's better than being in the establishment or being, I don't know. That's just how it's developed. You know, I've just developed into this kind of like splinter. This kind of bitter splinter in the big kind of like pampered wealth inequality metropolis. And so you look through stuff and you're like, okay, I can read this, and maybe you edit a little bit as you're reading it. You know, you cut a few things out, or you just change a few little words here and there. You tweak it a little bit to make it totally 100%. Or, you know, as close as you can in the sort of slapdash, wet paint, expressionistic, you know, sketch work kind of included way of it. I do just want all these angles going all these different ways, and I don't know. That's how life is. That's how things interrupt, and they go nowhere, and then some other thing comes in, and then you look around, and then, you know, you hear something, and then it's always shifting. It's always, and so then when you're reading it, that's almost like the first publishing. You know, reading it at an open mic, reading it on Monday, that's like your first. And if it works at the reading, then you're like, okay, that will go in the book. Because it's like, it's proven itself. You know, it's passed the test of like out loud in front of people. And, you know, I mean, some pieces work better than others. I think with my books, I do want pieces of all sizes. But what is distinguished and what's different about this book is there's a lot of really long pieces. There's 3 really long. There's the election sequence, Green Out. There's Manic Panic, which is another long. Well, there's actually 4 huge poems in it. The Easy Paradise Address is like a lot of text in 4 pages. It's a big 20-minute, 15-minute speech that I wrote, you know, as sort of like a guided improvisational delivery of thought matter and collage of the history of it and whatnot. And then the fucking Manic Panic piece is just another kind of big political, using, you know, open field, projective, whatever. Whereas, you know, in these notebook poem, you know, a lot of my more recent zines have been from the notebooks, which, you know, to be honest, I was trying to write a New York book, and specifically a Manhattan book. And so I wanted the poems to just be these endless buildings. I was building buildings in my poems, right? That's what we're really doing. We're masons. This is masonry. You know, this is laying bricks and mortar, right? You put a line down, you're stacking them. You know, you brick, you slap that mortar across another line, you know, and you're building these big fucking buildings that are meant to sort of look like the city. And I wanted to get lost in that. I wanted to build a book that was like immersed in that kind of, just like being in Manhattan is kind of like being immersed in these giant surround of just like endless scale. You know, the scale is just so fucking like that, you know, columns with windows and texture and surface and Louis Sullivan shit and whatever, cornice work, whatever it is, ornamentation, masonry, right? Brick, stone cutting. You know, so you're stone cutting these different lines. But there's also trees, and there's also space, there's sky. It's not totally that. You know, there is the other stuff too. There's little plazas. where there, you know, people can gather. There's indoor, there's rooms, there's rivers, there's ocean, there's the island, you know, there's Brooklyn. Brooklyn is a different feel. There's the fucking subway, of course. I'm reading that Descent of Owlette book, which is kind of like the ultimate subway book, because the whole fucking thing takes place in the subway. In the future, they live in the subway. And I wanted to make just like a giant New York City book. And, you know, it does supposedly, right, like this eclipse or whatever, this moon cycle we just ended, it's like the end of Pisces or whatever. It's the end of like some 15-year cycle. So whatever happened, whatever started 15 years ago is kind of like drawing to a close, and a new thing is going to happen. And so thinking about that, you know, but so with this new book, I wanted to kind of do something a little different. I mean, that's one reason why it's taken me so long to type it up, because these pieces were just like so big that, like, as a typist, I'm like, oh fuck, this is gonna take me, you know, it's gonna be work. I can't just like take a picture of it and scan it or whatever, and the fucking AI will type it up. It's like I have to manually go in and you know, I mean, think about typing up like a fucking novel or something, how long that would take. You know, like 300 pages where it's just like thick with language the whole time. I mean, this, you know, it's like there is a lot of space in some of these pieces, you know, but that's also a pain in the ass, you know, putting all these little, getting it to the right, you know, margin on the page to match the way it looks in the notebook. You know, I'm basically just trying to recreate my notebook in a way that's mass reproducible and a cheap, you know, cheap. That's the key for me. But so it's like, you know, there is space and things, but you know, it's a pain in the ass, you know, tab, space to get to exactly where you need it, and to do that, you know, that it increases. You're not just and the fucking thing is doing all the margins and everything. It's like the margins and the placing of this is like really important. At least it is to me. It's my sense of the form and like what gives it structural integrity. You know, it's like you're painting a picture with the language as you're doing it. Like I said, I want it to look like New York. I want it to look like whatever it is. You know, the neighborhoods. You know, the poems are like different neighborhoods, but most of my books are made of like, you know, because most of the readings you do at an open mic, it's like you have 2 to 3 minutes. So I've got these little notebooks. It's like I take them to open mics. The poems, I write them on the train or whatever. As I'm going about my day, things kind of stick to it. I pick them up and put them in there and scrapbook them together into like this kind of like aleatory linear reality tunnel transcription as you go. And but you know, you end up with all these poems that are like 2 to 3 pages. And another part of the reason for using that small format is it fits in these small chapbooks that I can print at home. Whereas like when you use bigger pages, when you're all over the page, you know, it's like I have to use a smaller font, you know, so it's not quite as easy to read. You know, it's like I like to use the 18 font size. This is 16, so it's a little bit smaller because I used a bigger page, I used a longer line. But I also don't want to live in that tiny box where you're always folded over and you're hinged and all your lines are having to like break halfway through. It's nice to kind of have something that's a little bit more expansive and kind of novelistic and prose-like, or in a certain way more old-fashioned. It's more like blank verse. It's more like the Wordsworth or some shit like that. It's kind of a flat prose look, which is nice. But, you know, most of my chapbooks have been these 2 to 3 page poem collections. There might be 1 or 2 long pieces that kind of anchor it. they've almost been like extensions of one book that comes in serial installments. Even though there's things that about each one of them that are distinct, and I try to, like the last one had the Montauk piece. My Central Park book was really kind of like, a lot of it was about finance and, that part of town. There were things about it that were distinct. There was some long pieces in that, but the form does morph through every book. Every book does have a subtle differentiation in the line length, the way it's kind of jumping around on the page or not, how obedient it is, how fast it is. Like recently I was writing some poems that were a little bit more like slow and considered and sincere and emotional. I was trying to do that. Plain spoken, prose like. And not a whole lot of that is in here, but there is one poem in here that's a little bit more like a normal poem that I think normal people will probably like more than something that's just like really fast and jumping around and trying to contort and twist all the syntax into these kind of like tradition defying knots and kind of twists and tunnel slides and yeah, so I don't know, these longer pieces, to me, this book, I think it is kind of like a new, there's just more in it, I guess. I think before I was trying to conserve the language a lot more, put in more empty space, let things come to me fully formed, whereas this is much more a product of sitting down and writing. Sitting in the library, writing in my giant $5 orange sketchbook. And then the November political poem just kind of was like a happy accident, where it's like it all kind of tracked as like a narrative to kind of document and but it's got a lot of stuff about the presidency. It's got historical kind of information. We're watching all these movies about the fucking president. It's got stuff about foreign policy, Central America. I don't know. I'm learning everything from movies. Is that bad? I feel like I've surrendered to movies, but I've tried to use them as like an educational tool. I guess probably most people learn shit from Hollywood. That's why it's kind of so dangerous. But somebody like Oliver Stone, I'm like, okay, this guy's sort of responsible, I think, as a political, historical, and like, not that I'm going to necessarily take everything in his film as like the historical fact, but I do think it's probably worth, it's if you're going to watch movies about the president or whatever, it's like, yeah, it's worth seeing the fucking W movie. And so I talk about the W movie in here. Around the election, we watched all these presidential movies. And that's, by watching these movies, or even just anything in life, it's all, as a writer, you're sort of self-conscious about the way that it's like, you're almost like feeding yourself material. Especially with my process, which is like this ongoing autofiction, ticker tape, scroll, live chat of my brain. And experience. And so like you're conscious about what you're feeding it, because that's gonna come out in the poem. And I don't know, I've been trying to use movies as a way to sort of like extend my own view into history, into visualization of other, to me that's what they're useful. They're almost like science fiction or something, where it's like you can it's almost like time travel. It's like I can literally watch other periods of time. I can see what New York was like in the 60s. You can see what, and so it's almost like an extended vision or something. And just trying to use it, like watching Jefferson in Paris, right, is the fucking Merchant Ivory movie about Nick Nolte plays Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings, right? And so You know, am I ever gonna fucking read a book about that? Like, I'd like to, but is a movie the worst way to like consider that and think about it and just like put it into your like consciousness? Like, I don't think so. I think Merchant Ivory, they're artists. You know, movies are as exciting an art form as anything going on. And even though I don't necessarily love the way that it displaces you from actual experience, it just seems like we are almost like living in this android reality where we're almost like bionic. We're like half movie. You know, we imitate the movies imitate us. The movies kind of tell us what things look like, what's cool, what's funny. The music goes into the movies. The buildings go into the movies. Cool personalities, sexy people. I mean, that's all a movie star is, really, in a way. It's just like some hot person that was like so hot that they're like, I'm an actor. Like Keanu Reeves. I mean, I love Keanu Reeves, but it's like the dude is just so interesting looking that, like, of course he's a fucking movie star. But, in any case, for the poetry, I try to look at it that way too. Like, by including Daniel Day-Lewis Lincoln in here, fucking Swing Vote, Kevin Costner. You know, it's a collage of American consciousness about the presidency, how we think about it, how we tell ourselves story about it. And it's also a visual. It's a visual shorthand. It's a vision board. It's a mood board. It's a Tumblr where it's like, okay, boom, here's Luigi. Here's, like I said, like fucking Tony Kushner's Lincoln fucking screenplay. Why did he make it that way? It's political. It's Brechtian, right? He's trying to show people the fucking electoral process. And he's doing it in a fucking Hollywood Disney movie, practically. Directed by Steven Spielberg, you know? And those are things that if I was just walking around in the world, I wouldn't have those windows into that part of the presidency in the same way, I don't think. You know, I wouldn't probably have learned, or maybe I would have read about it, or I would have written about something else. You know, I would have written probably more about my social life, or, you know, I would have had more of like that. Whereas like in this, there's not that many characters, right? Like I have a few friends that appear over and over and over again. Ashley and Bathtub Nebula and others. But it's not like necessarily this huge panorama of like the fucking scene or something. It's more, you know, it's like, okay, I'm going to watch these movies. I want to make it, you know, as expressive, you know, I'm going to watch Salvador. I'm going to watch Nixon. I'm going to watch fucking Runaway Train with Jon Voight. I had no idea Jon Voight was such a good actor. Oh yeah, rest in peace, Val Kilmer. We got to pour one out for fucking the Iceman. I do want to say I think Val Kilmer is the best of all the actor poets. Not a lot of people might know this, but Val Kilmer did, like a lot of famous movie actors do, he put out a vanity poetry edition. I don't know if he self-published it. I think he did. But I looked at it somewhere. I think it's online, or I looked at a preview of it or something. And to be honest, I mean, Charlie Sheen has put out a poetry book. Michael Madsen's put out a poetry book. Suzanne Summers has a poetry book. Ali Sheedy has a poetry book. There's a lot of actors who have... James Franco, of course. I'm sure that there's more. I'm sure there's definitely more. But of all the actor poetry books that I've ever seen, Val Kilmer's was definitely the best. I don't remember anything about it offhand, but I do remember like being impressed by like, wait a minute, this is actually kind of good. This isn't just like some kind of Bukowski knockoff or like whatever the fuck. You know, Sean Penn's book is like horrible. Bill Maher's book is horrible. His novel. It's like, what the fuck, man? You'd think Sean Penn would have written a better book. It's just like this immature, like potty language, like satire. It's like completely stupid. I mean, Ethan Hawke's book was pretty good. I think I read Ash Wednesday. I read one of Ethan Hawke's novels. It was okay. You know, it was like a young lovers on the run, just kind of like sort of genre new wave novel or something. You know, sort of taking after, you know, F. Scott Hemingway. It was okay. I mean, Ethan Hawke has become like one of our heavyweight intellectual movie stars. But Val Kilmer's fucking poetry book, if you can find it, was pretty good. And that's not surprising because he's such a good actor. You know, for being like as good looking and tall as he is, like, he is a very talented, interesting actor. I mean, I watched some movie a few years ago where he played some weird, it's almost like Marlon Brando, at the end of Marlon Brando's career, you know, how he just did all this weird shit. Val Kilmer played some kind of jewel inspector or something, you know, he had one of those, like, eye things, and it was eccentric and wonderful. You know, it was like performance art. I think he was, you know, it's really a shame what happened to Val Kilmer, man, because he was probably the best actor of that generation, to be honest. You know, if you were going to pick anybody from that generation, I guess he's probably he's 65, so that's what, 1960, so I guess he's technically kind of a boomer. But of all the people from that age, he would probably be the best Hamlet, you know. I mean, other than, you know, what, Daniel Day-Lewis. But, I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis, I mean, I don't know. It's almost like a different thing. Like, Val Kilmer's like a fucking, like, I don't know. He has, like, a movie star thing that really is, like, powerful. Tombstone, of course. I'll Be Your Huckleberry. And Top Secret. I mean, Top Secret's one of the underrated comedies of all time. Top Secret is, like, hilariously funny. It's fucking the guys who made Naked Gun, like, right around that time. And it's a spoof of, like, Elvis spy movies with Val Kilmer. It's like, that scene in the library where the fucking, like, they're throwing the books in, that's, like, one of the most amazing comedy scenes ever filmed. And Real Genius, of course, is, like, an early, I mean, I think I saw that when I was a kid. I remember it being an amazing movie about computers way early on, and like smart kids, I guess, computer geniuses. Now they've taken over society, the computer geniuses, and they're all actually politically retarded, even though they're really good with computers. They hate people, they hate human beings. That's no surprise, I guess. Maybe we'll start to go for a walk here in a sec. I don't know how much longer this is going to last. Probably only like 20 more minutes, 30 more minutes. So yeah, I mean, and of course the Doors movie. I mean, Jesus Christ. The Val Kilmer, Jim Morrison. I mean, you want to talk about biopic. You know, that was before the biopic just became like the go-to Academy Award, like, winner. You know, now that was like, I don't even think he got nominated for that. You know, that was back in the days of, like, Great Balls of Fire and La Bamba and shit. You know, way back. Before biopics became, like, the prestige genre of choice. Timothy Chalamet's acting like he got robbed or something. I'm in a fucking biopic, a music biopic. The Oscar bait du jour. But, I mean, Val Kilmer as Jim Morrison is, like, if you're doing an impression, if that's what a biopic is like a deep impression, like a soul impression of, like, these iconic superheroes of real life, of vibration, then, like, the Val Kilmer Doors is, like, it's in the top 3, Maybe it's not as good as Ray, but like, I think Val Kilmer's number 2, definitely. I mean, that movie's not necessarily as hard-hitting in some kind of dramatic, like, jerk-you-around, emotional porn way, like these other fucking biopics are. It's more, I don't know, vibey. It's like about the 60s and the psychedelic kind of snake of Vietnam and all the Oliver Stone kind of potpourri of like the stew of shit. It's like he's obsessed with that era, you know, Vietnam and JFK and Nixon and LSD and the Doors. And so I don't know. Is he the most political kind of major Hollywood? I'm sure there's probably more ethical, like hard-hitting political filmmakers out there, but how many people do it in that big, entertaining of a way? And he is a good screenwriter. I mean, he understands how to make kind of an exciting, you know, like Scarface. It's almost like Scorsese in that way. It's like he can take this subject matter. It's like he's writing about the mafia. He's writing about like real shit, but the movie also feels like this exciting kind of it moves. It keeps you kind of engaged. It's action, kind of emotionally, but it doesn't feel like it loses the kind of like political weight. Even though, you know, I'm sure he's not the most fact-checky, deep, you know, but it's just nice that there's somebody to do that, right? And so that kind of twines through my new book, Casbah Doggerel. This is an infomercial. I'm mansplaining all the methodology between my most recent... well, I typed it up yesterday, right? So I'm kind of, you know, as I'm typing it up, I'm thinking about what did this mean? Why is this in there? Do I need this? What is this referring to? Because a lot of it is just kind of vague or like disembodied, kind of like turns of phrase, common. Okay, I've got 20% left, so I'll go to 10%. So that means I probably have 10 or 15 minutes left. So yeah, I don't know. Like you're feeding yourself podcasts, political podcasts, commentators, stand-up comedians, poets talking about it. You know, poets should have more of an immediate mouthpiece to talk about. Like if you wanted to hear poets talk about or commentate on the election cycle, where would you do that? Like, is there a podcast that you would listen to? Like, there's definitely tons of fucking comedians who are doing it. You know, you can listen to fucking Jon Stewart. You can listen to Tim Dillon. You can watch fucking Andrew Schultz on Club Random, you know, and they're all going to be like weighing in and giving their fucking 2 cents. It's like people are just listening for entertaining, intelligent word art. And so it's like, you know, why isn't Eileen Miles like doing the circuit and like giving their fucking 2 cents on what's happening in the fucking media and what's happening in the fucking, I mean, I guess they're probably doing it at readings and this and that, but you know, it's like, that's what I try to do with this, is just like give like a more esoteric perspective and a more kind of creative, imaginative collage of news, art, kind of lecturing, stand-up comedy, whatever, historical, like with the poetry, right? It's like Shakespeare. There's histories. He writes about politics. You know, it's one of his main fucking preoccupations. It's like the court, how people kind of levy for position and kill each other to get power. And the you know, the politics of those personalities that are around that, you know, it's like there's always some kind of like royal court at the fucking, but then there's, you know, a donkey in the fucking woods, and there's spirits, and there's witches, and you know, so it's like you're getting all these different colors, all these pigments, you're getting the full spectrum of textures, and you're getting horror, you're getting comedy, you're getting base comedy, you're getting puerile toilet jokes. You're probably getting racist jokes in a way, I don't know. You're getting insult humor, I don't know. Does Shakespeare do that? You're getting a lot of fucking sexual innuendo and double entendre. It's very tawdry and loaded. And so, I don't know, that's what I just try to include all of that circumference of experience as well into the kind of integrated, smoothed over mosaic of, you want it to appear like seamless, you know, like it's all just how it happens in real life. You know, it's like sometimes you're talking about politics, sometimes you're just hanging out with friends, sometimes you're in love, sometimes you're on stage, sometimes you're thinking on the train, sometimes you're, you know, on a roller coaster, whatever the fuck it is. And you just kind of fluidly go through all that, you know. And so I want these monologues to have that effect. And the poems, you know, I want it to like scroll like a cursor, like a mouse ball or something around, you know, experience and consciousness and the, you know, the senses, how they shift around and what you're paying attention to. But you're also vaguely paying attention to everything. You know, there's like this kind of peripheral awareness too. And this kind of like sleepwalking understanding. You're taking in more than you even realize. You know, and so things come back to you later, right? Something that you saw, and at the time you didn't even realize that you were going to remember it, like for whatever reason becomes important to you. It reveals itself as some kind of surfaced conscious fragment of your experience that you feel like commemorating and holding on to, like some kind of 9/11 plate. And so, I don't know, I try to write about politics in a way that's entertaining and radical. And so the books are just as much like the free press or the fucking, you know, the alt weekly, right? It's a samizdat. It's a way of disseminating. And so, like, I have this line in here, literature is soft and slow. What is it? Fuck. Where is it? Fuck. Can't find it. Oh, I can't find it. I can't waste anybody's time. Any more time. Okay. Any case, there's just a lot in there, you know, and you can just go back. It's meant to be, you can just, you know, in fact, it's kind of easier to read it if you just skip around. It's designed to just be scanned and things will jump out at you. And, you know, the phrases are all compartmentalized and separate, but when you have them run together, I don't know, that's just kind of how life feels. It's like there really isn't a beginning and an end. There's beginnings and endings all the time, but there's also like it's just middle all the time too, and things run together. And there are spaces too, but it's meant to be something that you can read fast, like a narrative prose thing. Like I said, it's kind of like it's the same length as the Metamorphosis. So if you read it from start to finish, you know, it's going to give you a disjointed picture of this moment in time around the consequential, fateful election of 2024, where we sleptwalked into liberation. And I'm ready to get rich. I'm ready to be richer than ever before. We'll see, I guess. You can see the exact moment. That's one of the things that's interesting, is this whole long passage, 11/5/24, okay? So this is literally election day. And so there's this whole long passage where I'm just walking around, whatever, writing before I vote and before the election is decided. Well, it's like before we know who won. And then literally right here, this moment right here, where there's this line break. This is probably the biggest line break in the history of poetry. Because that between this stanza and this stanza, we found out that Trump got reelected. And so this is like the fulcrum. Hello, Matt, goodbye, democracy. So saith Sparrow. That was a text that Sparrow sent to Bathtub Nebula about the election. Bathtub Nebula said, hey, I'm with Matt Proctor. Sparrow goes, hello, Matt, goodbye, democracy. And so literally from there, it's all downhill or uphill. And the trajectory definitely changed. And so it's interesting to see that crash out and that kind of spiral start to happen in real time. And it's just a lot of fun for everybody to relive it. It's a historical document, It's meant to be just like a diary, a record, a transcription in real time of responses and moments in the story, story beats in our journey through back into darkness. But I mean, it's, there's so much that's not in this. Like I said, the earliest pieces in this, I think they might even go back to August, but at least September. And then the latest piece, I think, is from maybe February. But there's like nothing from December or January in it, hardly at all. So there's like a lot that's not in there. This winter was just, I don't know, it was brutal. It was brutal. And it felt like the weather was colluding. There was collusion between Russia and Trump and the people who control the weather. And so yeah, this book kind of tracks, for posterity, the arc of that stumble, that fatal stumble. And the cabaret, of course, is a big part of it, the open mic, and, it's all mashed together, right? I mean, the election does affect everything. I mean, the vibe has changed, and so the way that people are acting and what they feel justified in has changed. People are a little bit more I don't know. I think everybody can feel that it's just like one thing is drawing to a close, and so people are wrapping things up and they're starting new things because of this. This is just such a massive, and it's been framed that way. And to be honest, I think the weather has been so bad. That's one reason why there hasn't been like resistance. We're all trained by the pandemic to stay indoors on our fucking, whatever coping kind of podcasts we're listening to, rather than socializing with our friends. We're, overhearing our sort of surrogate friends that are digital on YouTube or whatever the fuck, Apple Music, binge watching The Studio or Everybody's Live, and the weather was just so goddamn cold. It's like it crushed. No one was going to go outside when it was 20 fucking degrees outside. And so it's just weird because they've just steamrolled all this fucking illegal agenda in. And these tariffs, like, nobody thinks are a good idea. The market is tanking. Like, so these people are starting to look at me. Okay, I'm on 10%, so I'm gonna get off. But But thank you for watching. And look forward to my new book, Casbah Doggerel. I'm playing at Pete's Candy Store April 10th. So I gotta figure out what the fuck I'm doing for that. And hopefully these antibiotics are working. I do kind of feel better already. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but I do. Is that weird? Is that unheard of? Yeah, so I don't know. We're just trying to keep people entertained and provide our hot takes and call it like we see it, and call bullshit, you know, and fight for freedom and democracy. Democracy does matter, even if it's a simulacrum, even if it's fake. Better a fake democracy than a real asswipe who's a dictator, which is what we have now. We have the biggest asswipes on planet Earth. So, collect your souvenir. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm gonna put on the cover, but this is your souvenir of history right here. Casbah Doggerel Poem Diaries, 60 pages, 11,500 words of hot fire, everybody, of pure poetry. April is National Poetry Month, everybody, so come on out and join us Monday. It's poetry time. Maybe I'll launch my chapbook Monday. I don't know how many copies I can print on my printer. I'm gonna run out of ink, but I'll try to do, 60 pages is a lot. I really only started doing the 60-page chapbooks because I could print them at Columbia. The printers at Columbia really, the font is bigger. For some reason, my printer makes the font smaller. But on the Columbia printers, it's a little bit bigger. And, you know, I could print 60 pages kind of willy-nilly up there, whereas like now it's like, I don't know. I'm not sure how many my printer will actually do, but I got to buy the paper, I got to buy the ink, so. $10 a piece, everybody. Support your local open mic host. I'm still looking for a place to live, so if anybody has any hot leads, looking for something sub 800. I can do anything sub 800. I could probably do sub 850. So, thank you for watching, you beautiful, beautiful people out there. And, you know, get my book. I'll probably do a reading of it or something, maybe online if I'm, and come out Monday to National Poetry Month. You poets, ye poets, gather ye rosebuds, ye poets, because we don't know what the fuck is gonna happen. We're just, you know, kicking the fucking wasp's nest. Kicking every fucking wasp's nest there is. Just pissing all over the wasp's nest. Alright. Supposedly, I did read a Reddit the other day that says if your shit gets healed, your skin will heal itself. So now I'm optimistic. I am optimistic that, like, my life will go back to normal. My hair won't be white forever. I'll cut it. And, things will sort of, like, heal once these antibiotics sort of kick in. So thank you for watching, everybody. This has been sponsored by Fishmox. Just kidding. All right, have a great day. And stay free, everybody.